mechanics, you train for conditioning, and you train for nutrition. Now, train your mind for emotions.
All right, welcome. We're at CrossFit of Alexandria. EWOD, that's what we're talking about today. Emotions, emotional workout of the day, that's it. Maybe a new concept to you, this whole thing about emotions, but that's what's bringing us to you today is that we've got new technology on the brain. Emotions, the number one performance issue with athletics is anxiety. Performance anxiety. Anxiety is an emotion. Basically, the idea there is you're wigging yourself out in the chatter, you're wigging yourself out in an emotional state, and when it comes time to do the task, we choke. So we're working towards the opposite now. We actually have the anatomy of the clutch. And that's when you harness everything, and we're seeing that it's about emotions. So what I'm going to do with you today is, in a very short period of time, I'm going to talk a little bit about the new sciences, emotional intelligence and neuroscience, but I'm also going to break down for you 3 skill sets, which is really your development path on learning these emotional skills. So what we're talking about here is, quickly, is emotional intelligence. Now you get the idea, right? Intelligence, smart. How smart am I about my emotions? That's what we're seeing. In the science, we're going to understand now that it's a learned behavior. So we got to learn these. These are skills we learn. A couple of things that are happening here. Now, I want you to understand that this is not new, okay? Even though we're talking about today, we can go all the way back to 1990. Where were you in 1990? That's when the first book came out from Dr. Goleman. Okay, now I'm only referencing this because I want you to understand that even though we're here today, you've got 20 years. The key, the most important part is that we're just now finding emotional intelligence showing up in sports, athletic competition, under pressure, in the moment. How smart are you about your emotions? When you're in the lift, when you're exerted and your body is tired, still, same gig. How smart are you about your emotions? So I want you to understand that 1990, again, it's been around for a while, but the second science, and you need to go Google these, is neuroscience. That's the medical technology. And that's only within the last couple of years. And that's why we're here talking to you today about how important emotions are in your workout, that you have a new level of awareness. And actually, that's the first skill. The first skill. When we talk about emotional intelligence, we're going to talk about skills that you've got to develop. The first and foremost is awareness. Now your first answer is going to, or your question is going to be, okay, well, aware of what? Thoughts and emotions. Now, this is milk and cookie stuff, okay? We're going to get into the steak and potatoes, the more complicated things later, but you've got to understand this baby step. We're going to talk about awareness, and when we talk about awareness, when I'm training you, when you're at a task, when you're in a workout, when you're under pressure, I'm going to teach you to develop the skill to be aware. And you say, well, aware of what? 2 separate agendas. All right? This is your development plan. After awareness, you need to understand the next is regulation. You say, well, okay, we're regulating what? Regulating thoughts and regulating emotions. I will suggest to you, you pick a top performer in your field, in your competition, and what you're going to find is that individual being able to regulate what's going on in their chatter, in their thoughts, to the point where the emotional state is right at peak, so that when the body engages the task, you've got what we call optimal performance. And that's what we're trying to get within you, all right? So here's what we've got. Again, your skill sets. How smart are you about your emotions? You will learn awareness to your thoughts and emotions. You will learn regulation. And the third is motivation. And I've got to tell you, I'm going to step off on a sidebar here. You know how many people are getting it wrong? This thing called motivation. Yeah, I need the coach yelling at me. The cheerleaders are fine. And all this external stuff. I go to coaches and they're like, yeah, we do that. You're failing them. If you're a coach and you're not teaching or learning yourself how to self-motivate by regulating, being aware and regulating your thoughts and emotions to the point where you learn to motivate yourself, then you're failing. You're failing the people that follow you, you're failing the kids, you're failing the student athletes, you're failing the team. You've got to teach the skill sets. We now understand it to the point where we can be aware, regulate, and that's why it's third, it's the hardest. But that's your development path. That's why we're going to start working out every day on emotions. That's your emotional workout of the day. Now what we need to do is go on out and catch somebody in the act of working out, and we're going to talk about what kind of inventory, what kind of framework we're going to establish now so that we can look at the mind, the emotion, and we see the body. Let's go on outside.